everyone, and welcome to a bonus episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. I'm your host, Lee. I am joined by four people. We'll get to them in a minute. But of course, as you know, Universal Orlando opened its gates for the first time since it closed on March 15th due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I am happy to welcome four members of the Producers Club who kind of took one for the team to go and check it out and see how it all went. So joining me is Brittney.
Hello.
Jack.
Hello.
Maddy, who everyone must know by now, because Maddy, you've been on a ton at this point, I think.
Yeah. Hi.
And Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed going to the parks for what it was, and I am definitely very interested to see how it went. I know Jack and Brittney, you did a YouTube video, and we have watched that, and it just seems super weird.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
I'm sure. But obviously, we know recording this, actually an interesting day to be recording this. I do like the fact that today is the 30th anniversary of the opening of Universal Studios Florida, so I thought it was a good time to record this in the end.
Party.
Yeah. And it's pouring down with rain, and yeah, I'm sure it's not, but I'd still rather be there than here, in fairness.
There was a tornado last night that went right past Universal.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It was getting ready for the anniversary. It was just remembering that Twister used to be there.
Yeah.
Correct. The Revenge of Twister.
So first up, I just want you guys to let everyone know when you went, like which day last week, and then what parks you went to. So we'll go in alphabetical order. So, Brittney and Jack, you may as well go together because you both went together.
Yeah.
We were there on June 3rd, which was Tuesday, right?
No, Wednesday.
Just kidding. It was Wednesday. And we did both Universal and Islands of Adventure.
Cool. Maddy?
I was there for team member preview on June 1st and June 2nd, and I did all three of the parks.
Awesome. As I said before we started recording, I'm very interested to see what Volcano Bay looked like. Tom?
Yeah.
I went on June 4th with my daughter, and we just went to studios.
Okay, so we've all kind of got an experience of before it actually opened to the public. So interesting, yes. Right, before we get into it, did anyone stay at any of the hotels or even visit any of the hotels at this point?
No.
It seems to be nosing around on the internet, and I'm talking to a friend of the show, Connie. The hotels seem to have implemented very much the same sort of social distancing things that the parks have with check-in and stuff like that. And it's just, I can't imagine being in those hotels. It just to be bizarre. Just very strange.
Yeah, seeing the photos, it's weird.
Yeah, it's odd. Like, I know the Coke Freestyle machines aren't being used, and I know Connie sent us a picture of the Tuk Tuk Market in the Royal Pacific, and they've even socially distanced all the food and the drinks in the coolers, so they're not touching. They're staggered. It's very weird. Maddy, being that you know the ins and outs of the transportation at Universal, I assume the water taxis are being used at this point.
Yes, yep. The water taxis are back in operation. It is very, very limited operation. I have not been informed of the exact procedures. I know that they're obviously doing a lot of cleaning on the boat throughout their shift, but as far as how many boats per hotel, how long they're running, things like that, I'm not totally aware of, but they are in operation.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, looking at Royal Pacific and Hard Rock, you'd probably walk anywhere. I don't think we hardly ever get the water taxis when we stay there anyway, unless we're with Michelle, because Michelle won't walk anywhere.
Yeah, the walkways are open. The security gate on the walkways are open. And, I personally don't think that the water taxis are essential. I think that they're definitely a bonus to staying at the hotels, but they do cost a lot to operate.
Yep.
If that's something that we deem important, you're going to bring it back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that would be difficult getting to the parks from without them would be, Sapphire Falls?
Yeah, I mean, the walkway from Sapphire connects directly to Royal Pacific. So it's just like from Royal Pacific into City Walk, it's like a 5-minute walk, maybe 7-10 if you're a bit slower, and then maybe 12 to 15 minutes if you're walking from Sapphire. But it's not terrible whatsoever.
Yeah. Is anybody aware if the buses are running as far as from Cabana Bay and Endless Summer?
They were showing buses last night.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw them running.
They would have to be if they have people in those hotels.
Especially from Surfside. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So obviously the first thing people are going to deal with is getting into the parking lots and going through temperature check and security and stuff like that. So Jack and I'll tell you what, we'll go Jack and Brittney, Maddy, Tom, just to because it makes it easy. And if anyone wants to jump in at that point, please feel free. But Jack and Brittney might as well just be one person at this point. So I'm just going to default to them.
Pretty much are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, when we first pulled in and got parked, there was a huge line leading up to the moving walkways, which was a little concerning at first, but it moved pretty quickly. There was a lot of having to kind of police your own social distancing at that point.
Yeah, they had markers on the ground pretty far back. They had barriers up, and that did not stop people from just kind of walking through the barriers and joining lines in the middle of it.
Yeah.
See, that's the biggest thing that we've been worried about from the start. It's like you can do what you can do to make sure you're safe, but then you're relying on everybody else to do the same.
People were just kind of walking in wherever instead of going to the back of the line. But I was like, okay.
Everybody had a mask on.
Yeah.
People were, for the most part, staying with their own parties. The actual, like, once you got up to the temperature check, that took maybe 5 seconds.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you're in.
Yeah, that didn't really hold down the line at all.
That's good.
And I noticed they had more gates open as you went through security. So people got through faster once they got past the temperature check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for us, because we went on Thursday, so I think they made improvements since Wednesday. There was no line for temperature. There was no line.
Oh, wow.
Sort of a line for security, but we just walked right through. I mean, it wasn't bad at all. So I think Universal's been doing a lot of on-the-fly improvements, to be honest.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. It's like you can put as many things in place as you want, but until you actually get people through the gates, you're not going to see how it works. And so they're going to improve every day.
Exactly.
I mean, Maddie, your experience will have been completely different as well with going through for team member preview, obviously, because you would expect everyone to know what the hell they're doing at that point.
Yeah. As far as like us as team members going into the park as guests, like, you know, we are a lot more.
Yes.
Not saying that anyone else isn't respectful, but like we have to be.
Yep.
You know, it's our job. Like if we're at a team member preview or a team member event, and like you do something not respectful, like your job is on the line. So we definitely have to be, you know, a lot better. But for us, they did tickets. Like they had us get tickets a few days in advance, but then apparently not enough people were getting tickets.
Okay.
So they just kind of like opened it up. But I mean, it was very, very empty. Like I didn't wait in a single line the entire day. So like it's strange for me because I didn't really get to see a lot of like the social distancing actually in the queues just because there weren't lines for us. But yeah, like you drive up to the parking tolls, you don't hand them your ticket anymore to scan. Like they have a hand scanner and they scan it through the car. They ask you if you want a receipt. I always say no because I never want paper sitting in my car because it just makes a mess. But yeah, they're social distancing the cars. So, I think once it gets busier inside the parking garages, that'll be interesting to see how long the social distancing of the cars lasts. Yeah. Because they have like cones every other car. But yeah, the walking escalators are only operating going into City Walk. And then you get up to the temperature check. It's super quick. Security was super fast as well. Although I think when it does get busier, obviously like those lines are going to get longer because they're wiping the buckets down after every single use.
Wow.
Which it's a lot. Yeah. But they have to. Yeah. So
I'll tell you one of the things we've noticed when we've been watching a lot of YouTube videos is they've got those social distancing markers like everywhere, but not on the moving walkways once you get through security. So it's like once you get through security, it's like, just do what you want.
Yeah.
Have at it. You've been through the bit where we're going to police it. Now it's up to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting though, because over in like Tokyo Disneyland and Shanghai and all of that, they're not doing markers of like, please stand here.
Yeah, please don't stand here.
Yes. Yeah, because our brains are more likely to see a sign that says don't do something and we're not going to do it rather than please stand here and we're going to stand 5 feet away from it. So it's like, it's a weird thing, but I think that I personally think that would work a lot better.
Yeah. So as far as, like, I know they've said that you have to have your masks on to go through the temperature check and through security. Did you guys see any issues of people complaining that they didn't want to wear a mask or that they wouldn't wear a mask? And if you did, like, what we've been concerned about is those poor team members, the ones that are going to have those fights with people who don't want to wear them.
I didn't see anybody without a mask on going through security. I didn't see any problems on our end.
Yeah, I didn't either. It was, I only saw one family that had them all on their chins, but they were told to put them back up, and that was really about it. One person didn't have a mask, but he had one of those, the bracelets they were giving.
Yes.
But he, and it was very prominent, the band. It wasn't a small one.
Yeah.
You could see it from a distance. And it was really not bad at all.
Because those bands have been sort of controversial already. I wrote a blog post for the blog about it, and it's that thing of, is it going to be another one of those things that people are going to try and abuse? Because it's there for a reason.
Yep.
But you worry that people just go, I don't want to wear a mask. I'm just going to say I've got X, Y, or Z, and away you go.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the whole medical issues, but I think it's funny that people are complaining that they have asthma and they can't wear a mask, yet that's not safe in the first place to be exposed if you have a lung condition. So you should be wearing your mask.
Yeah, well, it's like that thing we've said about they're going to turn you away if your temperature's over 100.4 degrees. And I'm sorry, but if your temperature's over 100.4 degrees, you shouldn't really be feeling well enough to go to a theme park anyway.
Yep.
True.
Yeah, but then there's people that do the whole trip and like, I'm here, I'm going to go. I don't care how I feel.
Yeah, and that's something you're going to get later down the line when you've got international travelers or interstate, like people coming from further afield. But right now, that shouldn't be an issue.
Yes. It's interesting because if you're a party, let's say it's a family of 4, and one person in your party has a temperature higher than 104, which, first of all, like 104, you should be hospitalized.
Yeah.
Like, if you even have a temperature of 102, like, you should probably go to the emergency room. But if one person in your party has that temperature, all 4 of you are not allowed in, even if you have tickets.
Oh, well,
you can't say, like, Dad, you're sick, go wait in the car, we're going to go in. It's the whole party. But as far as the mask thing, they actually created an entirely new position at Universal. I can't remember the name. They're kind of like the guest experience at Disney in the blue shirts with the blue tents.
Okay. But
they're in white shirts with like safari hats and a bag. And they are the ones, they're everywhere. They're all over City Walk. They're all over Volcano Bay, inside the theme parks. And basically their job is to answer specifically like COVID-19 procedure questions.
Yeah.
If you don't have a mask, they'll give you one of like the blue hospital masks until you can buy one of the ones that are cute and Universal themed, which I think, is a good idea for them to start selling.
Yeah.
And they are also the ones, I was approached by one of these safari hat wearing team members. I was drinking a bottle of water, standing in a single spot inside Islands of Adventure, drinking a bottle of water, and I had my mask on my chin. And he came up to me and he was like, "Hi, like, I just want to make sure that in between every sip, like, you have to put your mask back on."
You are
and
joking.
I am not joking. He was like, if you're not gonna like finish the whole bottle in like at once, like you have to keep the mask on as long as like food or water is not going into your mouth if you're not sitting down in a restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's good to see the being strict though.
But what day was that though?
It was day 1.
Okay.
So it's interesting because day 1, like there wasn't, our team members didn't get a whole lot of like training and warning beforehand. So it was kind of just like trial and error.
Yes.
It was like, we're going to see, because like things that were happening on day 1 did not happen on day 2, or things that, vice versa. It's interesting but it's good that they have specific team members set out to do that single job.
Absolutely.
Because, now attractions team members and merchandise team members and everyone like that, they have a lot more that they have to be working on now, along with telling guests, please stand 6 feet apart, please keep your mask on at all times. So I think it was a good idea for them to give these specific team members the single job to talk about and help with procedure.
Definitely. Yeah, because a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions and not sure of what's going on. And let's be honest, people do every day anyway, and then without throwing in all of this as well on top of that. Well, Maddie, let's move on slightly.
Yeah.
You mentioned Volcano Bay there. I'm going to allow you to
I
continue
did.
to talk a little bit more. You were the only one that went to Volcano Bay. I think everyone going in kind of knows what to expect going into the theme parks. Volcano Bay, on the other hand, what the hell? I am surprised it opened at all, to be honest. But how did that work?
I think a lot of us are. It was interesting. Well, first of all, I have never been to Volcano Bay before, so this was my very first experience with Volcano Bay. Just like going into City Walk, your face covering. Oh, it is a face covering. It is not a face mask.
Yes.
That is something that I learned as well. So your face covering has to be worn getting out of your car, going through security, doing the temperature check, on the bus, going into the park, and going to either the locker or the chair or the cabana that you're going to be staying, sitting, or putting your things at. Once you put all your stuff away and you are ready to go in the water, you do not have to wear a face covering. The only times face coverings are allowed or are mandatory are when you're going to be going to eat or when you're going into a store, and then when you're exiting the park at the end of the day.
So if you're just wandering around from ride to ride or whatever, you don't have to wear one.
Exactly.
See, I find that strange then.
It's very, yes, you are correct. It is super, super strange. Everything is social distance, just like inside the parks. All the lines are social distance. And all the team members are wearing their face coverings and everything. But yeah, it's very weird.
I think looking at it from, I've been to Volcano Bay, but I haven't actually been to Volcano Bay, but it's kind of already set up for this to work relatively well anyway. I think with the tapu and everything. Anyway, it's just a case of implementing certain spots on the floor to make sure that people are standing away from each other. So it's kind of set up for it already, without having to do an awful lot of work like it is in the theme parks.
Yeah. But I talked to a lot of the lifeguards because I'm also a lifeguard at Walt Disney World. So I kind of just wanted to know, what, how as a lifeguard can I save someone's life while also social distancing and keeping myself healthy? And you can't. They have those mesh kind of you put them around, it's like a circle and you put them around your neck and then you pull them up over your face that people use for fishing and stuff. That's what the lifeguards are wearing, and they're red.
Okay.
So when they jump into the water to save someone, they have to pull it down so that they don't, suck in a bunch of water through the mask. But then once they get up to the person to save them, they put the face covering back on. I don't get it, but all the team members are wearing them. So, they're keeping themselves safe. As far as a guest at Volcano Bay, it is a safety hazard to cover your face with something while swimming.
Yeah.
Whether you're an Olympic swimmer or not, it's a safety hazard. So yeah, them opening I think was a little premature for the water park because there really is no way to social distance.
Well, there you go. Here's a question for Tom, Brittney, and Jack. Would you be comfortable visiting Volcano Bay as it is right now?
No.
No.
No, we talked about it on the podcast before, and Chris said it 3 or 4 weeks ago. He didn't expect Volcano Bay to open, and we kind of all agreed with him. And the fact that they did is quite surprising. I think it's strange that Universal opened everything all in one go anyway. We kind of expected them. They opened City Walk for a little bit, then let's open Islands. Islands is an easy one because it's a circular route. Let's open Islands first, see how that goes, and then open the rest, instead of just open the whole lot and crack on. From your point of view, Maddie, you've never been. What was it that kind of made you want to go on opening day, knowing that it was going to be weird?
My basic premise for going to both days of team member preview was to just kind of see what the procedures were, so that hopefully, crossing my fingers, when I do get called back to work, I have the knowledge that I can answer questions for guests if they have them, and just to kind of know what I was getting myself into when I was getting called back to work.
Yeah.
But also, as team members, when we do these previews and things, we are guinea pigs for the park. We were there to help the team members who were going to be seeing guests before like the rest of us, to help them kind of get the wheel going and seeing how they had to like do procedures and stuff. So it is important for us to have those previews to help everyone out, but it is super interesting.
It is, like I said, no one's ever dealt with this before. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Unprecedented, as everyone is saying. Yeah. And, we're not going to have the right answer or the right procedure for everything, but like we're trying, but no one knows what's going on. And if you don't feel comfortable, the pass holder preview days was rough on social media because there was just so much negativity. And what it really boils down to is like, if you're going to complain about procedures that a park has in place, don't, because you don't have to be there.
Exactly.
Like, you're making the choice to go. Yep. So don't complain. Oh, it bothered me so much.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's get into that. So, going into the theme parks themselves, Tom and Brittney and Jack, getting into the parks themselves, how was that whole experience? And then once inside the parks, just being in the theme parks themselves, how did you find that as far as like social, like not taking into consideration restaurants or rides or anything like that, just wandering around the park, being in it?
Well, getting into a park with us at Studios, we were lined up on the left-hand side, the ticket booth on the left. And the line got progressively long over the bridge. So they started separating the line and moving like to stations along to the right side. So they had about 5 entrance lines eventually. And everyone kept pretty social distance. Everyone wore their masks. The people behind me, we were talking the whole time, 6 feet apart. It wasn't bad at all. And then entering the parks, the same thing. We got a big welcome back, welcome home. It was really nice. And we got there at 9. We left around 1:30 when the rains were hitting. And my daughter and I walked 5 miles in the park.
Wow.
During that time. We just walked around. We were just enjoying seeing everything.
Yeah.
But there wasn't really much of everyone was really well behaved.
That's good.
I mean, I didn't see any friction, and I was on the lookout for it.
Yeah.
And everyone was just, it was actually a really good, feel-good atmosphere, which compared to what was happening on Wednesday from what I was seeing.
Yeah, we went in at Islands, and the line was all the way down in front of the water, like across from Toothsome. We went in through the ticket line, and then they were sending people to different stations to get in. Once we got in, that's where just walking around the park is the only problem I had with social distancing. Well, and people were just not really paying attention and would be all in your space. So it's more kind of you have to social distance yourself from everybody else.
Yeah. Once you get to like the Jurassic Park area and the Hogsmeade area, that's where it got really clustered, and it kind of looked like a normal day. And people just were not separating, and they were kind of, like Brittney said, in your space.
Because it's that weird thing we watched your vlog and a few others, and it just seems so counterintuitive that they've got all these social distance markers set up outside of shows and shops and restaurants, and yet the rest of the park is, like you said, just it's up to you, just crack on. So it just other than outside the restaurants and the rides and stuff, it just seems to be as you were. Which is odd. It's like...
Well, Islands has more choke points. There's not, like we're in Studios, you can go in any direction and get away from something. Whereas you just have either going forwards or backwards, basically. So if you have a bunch of people standing, it's sort of like a scare zone.
Yeah, and then you have people kind of going in it, like at Hagrid's. It was a very clustered because you had people going to the lockers, you had people coming in and out of the queue. But luckily, there were a lot of team members around to kind of guide you on where to go. So that was very helpful.
Yeah, that's not a job I would want because, like I say, again, what we've been discussing is it's how do those poor team members deal with people who want to be awkward? And I'm sure it's going to happen. The people once you start getting people traveling to the resort, that people, how angry people can be that I've paid all this money to be here and I don't want to abide by your rules, and you're going to get that. And as a team member, No one wants to deal with that.
Right.
No.
Yeah. It's now we have the thing of like, it's not just our rules at our theme park.
Yes.
Like it's the CDC. They're the ones that are putting in place these social distancing, these 6 feet, these face covering rules. So like, it's not just us anymore making the rules for you. Like it is an outside force.
But then from that point of view, Maddie, as well, though, they are only guidelines. They don't have to go by them. I'm happy that they are. But
yeah, but I just personally, like, throughout this whole thing, I've been an essential worker at Walgreens, which has been interesting because we started off.
I used to work for them. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like laughing. Like, oh my God, sorry.
Yeah. So we started off like this whole pandemic with like corporate at Walgreens not saying anything about like face masks being mandatory for customers or for employees. Like we didn't have the plexiglass panels up, every blah, blah, blah. And just like maybe because I'm young, I don't know. I personally don't think in our society nowadays there's any way to actually social distance. Like you're going to come within 6 feet of someone at some point during the day. Like when you're ringing up, you're going to have to move forward to hand them your card. You then may move back 6 feet. But like, I don't think that there is a way to social distance an entire theme park.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm a little skeptical. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you're correct. Like there's just not, especially at certain points in islands.
Yeah.
Where you're just, especially Hogsmeade, it's so tight in there.
Well, you think about the bridge from Jurassic Park into Hogsmeade, that's a relatively narrow bridge coming in.
Yeah, then they got all the construction walls up, so you're pretty close together there too as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it sounds like from your guys' point of view that, they're doing as much as they can, and kind of like we've said, it is coming down to the individual as well to be sensible, and hopefully people are. But one of the things I wanted to talk about as well, I've noticed that they've put these rest spots around City Walk and the parks. Did any of you use them, and how was that experience? Because it seems good but weird.
They were all empty when we walked by them. Yeah, no one was in them.
I find them very funny.
Why?
I don't know. It's like
it's sort of like the go to your corner, you can pout there. I mean, that's the way it is,
I think it's good that they've got those spots there, because I'm sure, especially when you start getting into the summer months, that having a mask on all day is going to be a nightmare.
Yes, that is one thing that I was definitely intrigued about, because like on a normal day at a theme park in Florida during the summertime, like you have a lot of people faint or not feel well because they're not used to this temperature and they're not drinking enough water and they don't have enough sunscreen on. So now with all of that normally happening, with the addition of something covering your mouth and your nose in a humid environment, the team members are definitely going to have to be on their toes, looking out for signs of someone who is potentially going to like pass out. It's definitely going to be an interesting summer.
We got pretty lucky. We had overcast and it kind of rained on and off, so it was cool for Florida.
Jack and Brittney, when you were there, did you use any of those rest spots? Where are they all? Do we know where they are? There's one in Central Park.
There's Central Park. There's one right before you get into Seuss Landing.
I know there's one over by NBC Grill, like right in front of it.
Okay.
But we didn't use them.
Smoking area used to be.
Yeah, we didn't need them.
Well, it's funny because they have all those rest spots, but they're all going to be right in the sun.
Yeah.
There's no shade. So all the people are going to be, I need to get out of this mask, I'm too hot, but then they're going to be standing in the sun.
The thing is, it's like Central Park makes perfect sense, because if they're not running Cinematic Spectacular, you might as well use that for that, and it's kind of sectioned off. So that one makes perfect sense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the fact that it's not shaded at all is kind of counterintuitive for what you want people to be doing. But I'm glad they've done them. It makes a lot of sense. And again, but it's that weird thing that you're allowing a certain area for people to take off the mask, and then depending on how full it gets, that you're relying on people keeping their distance from everybody else as well.
It's their responsibility, it's the people's responsibility to police themselves
Yeah.
at that point.
But then I suppose it also comes from a point of Universal covering their own backs, that we've given you an area that you can take your mask off to stop you just getting halfway around the park and being, I need this mask off now, and just taking it off in a place where you shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the disclaimers everywhere.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure they will. Right. Before we move on to the next bit, I am going to move on for a little ad break because we like to keep Brittney in a job, and her bosses will want me to plug the company. So we will hear from Mouse and Muggle and we'll be back.
Have you taken a stroll down Diagon Alley and visited Gringotts Bank? Taken a ride through New York with Jimmy Fallon? Visited the Truffula Trees in Seuss Landing or hung out with a real-life Transformer? No? Then what are you waiting for? At Universal Orlando Resort, there truly is an option for everyone. Or if you're leaning a little more towards pixie dust rather than wands and potions, Disney destinations around the globe await your arrival. No matter the adventure, our sponsors have you covered. Be sure to let the experts at Mouse and Muggle Travel Company take care of all your travel needs, earning the distinction of being an earmarked agency specializing in Disney destinations, as well as becoming one of the first to be named a You Preferred agency with Universal Parks and Resorts Vacations. Mouse and Muggle Travel Company will ensure you receive top-rated customer service. Just visit mouseandmuggle.com to fill out a no-obligation quote request, or send your request to info@mouseandmuggle.com. Their team can take care of you no matter where in the world you want to go. With a flick of their wand and a little bit of pixie dust, the process will be so seamless, some might even say it's simply magical.
Welcome back, everyone. As you know, I am here with Brittney, Jack, Maddy and Tom, and we are discussing Universal and the weird craziness that it is at the moment during the reopening of COVID-19. So I want to kind of get on. We've talked about the parks themselves. We've talked about City Walk. Let's move on to the stores themselves and how that works, because, you know, we know they've got social distancing markers set up outside, but when you're in there, do they have anybody kind of keeping an eye on people, making sure that they're apart? One of the things I think we discussed recently is theme parks are very much, people will pick things off the shelf and, oh, how much is that? Oh, no, I don't want that, and put it back. Are they policing that at all?
Not at all.
No.
No.
It seemed like more like people were going to, if you were going in the shop, you went in there for a reason and you knew you were going to buy something. Like people were buying and leaving, buying and leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than just browsing.
The only social distancing in the shops I saw was when you go to check out, they had the 6-foot markers.
Yeah. But in a lot of the bigger stores, they've opened up the middle walking path. Like in the big Islands of Adventure store, they like totally opened up the middle.
Yeah, so rather than it being full, to give people
the middle
space.
like walking area.
So does that mean then they've taken a lot of the merch out then? Or just spaced it out differently?
I think it was.
It seemed like it was just
out.
spaced.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've added a bunch of new merch, which was super exciting.
Yeah, all that 30th stuff's awesome, by the way.
Oh, I dropped a pretty penny on that neon merch.
Yep.
Same.
I was like thrown back to my middle school days. Great.
But yeah, it's just, again, it's that weird thing that if you're not policing people, because if you start having people going in with kids are always touching things, and I don't, but I suppose it's weird. Like you said, Maddy, it's that thing where you can only go so far with things.
Yeah.
But then if you have more people policing, then you have less room walking around.
That is very true as well.
So there's that whole, then you limit people walking in the stores.
Yeah.
So, in some stores we're doing that, but it's, juggling act.
Because I liked how, I think it was the studio store in City Walk, when City Walk first opened, that they had the two entrances where they had one way in and one way out. And I'm surprised they haven't done, I don't know whether they have, but I'm surprised they haven't done that more with a lot of the other ones. They've got two entrances to have one as an in and one as an out.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
I think what they should do for this store is, because it's mandatory for all the restaurants. Like as you walk into any of the restaurants, you have to take the hand sanitizer that the team member gives you.
Right.
And the door is automatically open. It's already propped open, so you don't have to grab a door.
Yeah, so I think they should definitely be doing that for stores as well.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. Because then your hands are clean coming in, and then obviously give you one going out as well. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. But apparently COVID doesn't stay on surfaces. That's what I read the other day from the CDC, is like it doesn't stay on surfaces. It's only airborne. So maybe that plays a factor into it. I don't know.
But if that was the case, then why are they spotlessly cleaning everything if it doesn't stay on surfaces?
Paranoia.
I suppose it shows, it shows a willing to be doing something.
Week to week,
Yeah.
it stays.
Yep. At Volcano Bay, they were cleaning the tubes in between every person using them. They were also cleaning when you tap into a ride, not like on the screens, like, well, I'm sure they were cleaning those too, but like when you walk up to the entrance of the ride and you tap to say that you're here for the ride, they clean the tapu thing that the wristband touched the thing. They're cleaning that.
Okay.
So to me, and we do it at Walgreens too, I clean the pin pad after every single person because I'm told to. And I think it's a thing to make everyone feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we have to, but we're going to do it to make people feel comfortable.
Because people see it and think, oh, they're doing, that's a good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Because it's funny watching. I do feel sorry for the poor team member whose job it is to clean the handrail on the moving walkways. That's literally their entire job, is just constantly wiping. Yeah. That's soul destroying.
Yep. Yes.
We've kind of moved on a little bit there and talking about the food places and the restaurants. Did anybody eat when they were in the parks?
We did.
Yep.
We did.
How did that go?
That was really our only negative experience.
Okay.
We went to Fast Food Boulevard. It was mobile order. Listen, we were going to do Leaky Cauldron, but the line was like crazy. Yeah. So we went to Fast Food Boulevard and we did mobile order. You go in, tell them that your food is ready. They give you hand sanitizer and take you to a table. And we ended up waiting, what was it like?
It was over an hour.
Over an hour for our food.
Wow.
They were.
But like the tables who came in after us were getting their food.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that.
And
I like that they brought us in. They sat us down. They had the table spaced out. They had reserve markers on some tables so you couldn't sit there. What I didn't like was they just would bring food out and they would just start yelling names.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were just like, is there a Jack? Is there a Lee? Who has the salad?
And they're just taking the food all around the dining room.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I didn't like that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
The table that was, well, I'm not directly next to us, but next to us, they were explaining that we're sorry we gave your food to the wrong table. We're remaking your food. I was like, oh no. I was like, how did you do that? And why did they take the food if it wasn't theirs?
So yeah, that was our really only negative experience with the food.
See, Fast Food Boulevard's such a weird one anyway, because it used to be set up really well. And then I noticed when we came out last October that they changed it all and it just became a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's so, I don't understand why they changed it, because it was set up really well and then they decided that, I don't know.
We ate at Today Cafe, where someone greeted us at the door, gave us hand sanitizer, brought us to a table, said, do your mobile ordering. We sat down. Someone saw that we were sitting there for 5 minutes. So they came over, what's your name? They wrote it down. They got our food and brought it out. It was like really quick and easy.
So am I getting it right that you're mobile ordering once you're inside the restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah, so they sit you down, then you do your order. So effectively you're ordering but not ordering. So you're not doing like the whole idea of mobile ordering is to do it ahead of time, but this time you're effectively doing it rather than queuing to pick your food up.
Right.
Yeah.
It was more like having no waiter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that was it.
Yeah.
But we got our food fast and made us relaxed and everything. It was really a good time.
Maddy, did you eat it all?
Yeah, I ate at both the dry parks and Volcano Bay, and we luckily didn't have to wait just because there wasn't very many people there. But at Volcano Bay, I ordered my food on the app as I was walking up to the restaurant, and then once I was there, I clicked the I am here button, showed them, and then they seated us. But where did we eat? Oh, we ate at the Three Broomsticks.
Okay.
that for that one, because we didn't know how it was, because that was like very first day that everyone was back. So for that one, we walked up and they kind of explained it to us. We took the hand sanitizer, they sat us down, they showed us how to do it on the app, and our food came out fairly quickly. But what they're doing now with the silverware is they're giving you like individually wrapped silverware packets, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I know they were doing that when City Walk first opened as well, and all the menus now, are, like if you actually get a menu, all the menus are like one-use paper ones, yeah.
Yep.
Which, when you're trying to be environmentally friendly, it's not exactly brilliant, but I suppose you've got to do what you've got to do, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because I think it was Jack and Brittney was your video, wasn't it? Where, to be honest, I do apologise if it wasn't, because I've watched that many over the last week. Getting into the Hog's Head, you queue down the side. Was that yours or was that someone else's?
That was not us.
Okay, I do apologise.
Oh, it's fine.
I have watched.
Oh wait,
so
that's
many.
open now?
Yeah, but they were queuing down the side, if I remember rightly. You know, there's that weird little alley that goes to the back patio. They were having people queuing down there.
Huh. That was not open for review. Fun.
Well, like you said, this is the thing. It is going to change every day because they are going to be learning different things. I'm sure today was different than when Tom was there on Thursday, because you've got, now it's open to the general public. It is going to be completely different.
Yeah.
The videos we've watched yesterday, it seemed a lot busier than I expected it to be when it opened on Friday, because we kind of thought that a lot of people would be like, I don't know whether I'm comfortable going yet. And apparently no one thinks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very strange. But it seems like for the most part, you guys, I was just going to say, going back to just being in the parks, a lot of the things that we've talked about on the podcast and people have messaged us about is a need for hand sanitizing stations or like portable hand washing stations. Do they have a lot of those around the parks?
I didn't see any.
Really?
I didn't either.
Yeah, we got hand sanitizer when we entered a ride, and then there was one when we left the ride, but I didn't see any just like sitting around the park.
So if you're wanting to wash your hands, then you're going in the bathroom, which was a concern of ours, because how are they working? Are they implementing social distancing going into the bathrooms and the restrooms?
No.
You can't. I don't see how you could.
They're doing social distancing with the sinks. There's like a sign above every other sink that says, due to social distancing, like, please do not use this sink.
But then you're relying on people to be sensible and not use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that seems a strange one.
I'm trying to think. I swear I saw a hand washing station somewhere, like the like plastic ones that you can like tote around. Like they have it like the Run Disney races and stuff. Maybe that was at Volcano Bay. Oh, I don't remember. But I would also, they're also selling tiny travel hand sanitizer, Universal branded, in the in the stores. And I would assume that if you're traveling there, you're going to have your own hand sanitizer as well.
Yeah, it's funny when you look, like now they've reopened. I remember Seth on Little Things just before the parks closed that they had hand sanitizer all around the parks. And it's funny that they had it there before it, but now they've reopened that they don't. Seems a bit weird. Right, moving on. Pretty much the last bit at this point, and this is the one. It's been weird watching how this works, but the rides themselves, it seems really strange. Like we've seen photos of people getting on Gringotts, and there's like 3 people on a ride vehicle. It's just bizarre. How like what was? See, let's get into it first. What wasn't open as far as attractions at the parks?
Or makeup was not open.
Yeah.
But Poseidon's Fury was.
Yeah, and the water vortex was working, which I found strange.
Water vortex?
Yeah, the water effects on Spider-Man and on Transformers were going.
Yeah, which we were told they weren't be. That's weird. Maddie, do you not know what the water vortex is?
I don't know.
The water tunnel that you go through.
It's the tunnel.
Oh, okay. I've never heard it called that. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised that was on. Was Dudley Do-Right and Popeye and River Adventure open?
Yep.
Yes.
All 3 of them. So was there anything not open other than shows?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Well, the kid zone is closed.
Yeah, and I assume Camp Jurassic, and if I ran the zoo and Zeus Landing is as well. Was One Fish, Two Fish open?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Camp Jurassic was open, but only for Pteranodon flyers, which I got to ride. I'm just throwing that out there.
I did see they were allowing people on without children.
Oh my God, I cried.
Was the water working on One Fish, Two Fish or not? Or did they turn it off?
I didn't notice.
I didn't get on. So.
I didn't notice.
So getting in, so it seems like pretty much everything was open then at this point. So just your experiences queuing and getting on the rides and stuff, how was that? And I don't know, Tom, go on, you go up first.
Well, the Simpsons, you saw my picture.
Yeah.
I mean, they really had it spaced out. They probably would have put another family in between us if they were there, but they had everyone going throughout the whole building. So when we got in, we got into the room in Simpsons, they didn't close the door. They left that door open. So I guess even they needed, more airflow. I guess that's their thinking.
Yeah.
And then when we got in the car, it was just me and my daughter.
Awesome.
Men in Black was, same thing. They had the whole area marked all the way through. So you just walk line to line. Same thing. They only ran one track though. They didn't run the second track, which I thought was weird. So that hurt our scores a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I was a little angry at that.
That's how you can tell a true Universal fan.
Yeah, I was like, really? But we both scored in the 400,000.
That's not bad.
But then, it was just me and my daughter in the cart, and that was it. But it went pretty well. I guess it just really depends on who's next to you. Everyone was really respectful that day. The one thing I did notice that people, when they're standing there in line, keeping their social distance, even if there's markers, they have a tendency to move forward.
Yep.
Because I guess it's just, human nature. Like, there's a space here. I need to be in front of.
Well, you think about
there.
theme parks that you're told constantly by cast members and team members, please fill all available space, move up now. And then you're being told, don't move up, don't fill all the spaces. And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, you saw a lot of people going, oops, I didn't mean that. You know, just because they walk forward and they're not paying attention. Jimmy Fallon was the same way. None of the screens were on in the waiting area, so you didn't have to touch it. Nothing to touch. And they had the lines, socially distanced. But the thing is, with all those corners, you couldn't see ahead of you. So the line actually moved, and we didn't know.
Right. Were the Ragtime Gals on performing? No. Did you say they weren't?
No, there was nothing going on. It was very, bland and boring. Same thing with the Fast and Furious. Everyone was very respectful. Even in the room, the big rooms, they had lines. They're like, please stand on those lines.
And there was no one there, as always.
No, with all the space in the room was full because there was, but you're talking 6 feet apart. Yeah. So how many spots? 10. So one person, and that's the thing. If it's a group of people, they consider each a group of people. Group of people can be one person or 6 people.
Yeah.
So that so you can have a bunch of single riders and have 10 people in the room, and the room's fully.
And I know, you posted a picture as well, Tom, of them cleaning the ride vehicle down before you got on it as well.
Yeah, I was a little shocked by that because no one rides the ride, so what were they cleaning? Oops, I said that out loud.
I think someone commented on the picture I posted of it, Tom, saying it should be cleaned with fire.
I mean, but I appreciate that they're doing it, and they're trying. They're really trying.
And that's all you can ask, isn't it? I mean, did anyone ride anything with any major weights, like where the queue is bad? Like, I mean, Forbidden Journey and Hagrid spring to mind, where those queues are usually a nightmare. And how was that experience? Did anyone ride either of them?
We rode Hagrid. It was so virtual wrong, queue. We rode the Hagrid ride.
There you go.
And it was virtual queue. Which my husband just happened to get us a virtual queue for like 10 minutes from when he got it.
Nice.
So we had to go outside of Hogsmeade and get in line for the lockers, drop our stuff off, and it was pretty much we walked straight through that queue and got front row.
Okay, awesome. Because that's the thing as well, isn't it? I know a lot of people I've seen have complained that, Disney are going to have it easier because a lot of the time waiting at Universal is going to be putting things in the lockers, because I know over at Gringotts they're only allowing one person in at a time to keep social distancing in. And you think, I think I watched a video yesterday, said they waited something like 40 minutes to get their stuff out of the locker after having ridden Gringotts, which is, I understand why they're doing it, but wow.
Yeah.
I thought I also saw I don't know how true this was, but someone posted a picture from the app today, and the virtual wait time for Flight of the Hippogriff was 2,555 minutes.
What?
I don't know
my goodness.
whether that was a glitch.
That might have been a glitch.
But yeah, I was like, wow.
Like the Mummy had a longer wait line. The ones that was 60 minutes compared to the Rocket was only 15. We didn't even go. We were like, oh, forget that. We're not going to wait inside 60 minutes with these people. No. So we'll go back another day. Oh no, it was just weird. You think about if they're going to be doing 6-foot spacing throughout the whole thing and skipping some areas. You can't fit that many people in there.
No. Like I said earlier, that weird thing of seeing the Gringotts ride vehicles, basically like 3 people on it because they're having to space people out like that. How did it work on Hagrid? Did you and Jack get to sit together, Brittney?
We did. Yes. We were together, and then my husband was behind us, and he didn't have anybody with him.
So on the exact, I suppose he's part of your group, but then a separate group, were they then, a row behind or 2 rows behind? How were they separating everyone off?
I think they were way in the back. It was just us and another group of people, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I suppose it depends how many groups,
cars
isn't it? Yeah.
Between us and the group behind us. It was more than one car.
I can't imagine what it's going to be like. I don't even know what the capacity that they're allowing in at the moment, but obviously it's going to raise at some point, and then this weekend's probably been a lot busier than normal, or maybe not because of the weather. But once you get a weekend where it's going to be busy, I can't imagine what the wait times for some of these rides are going to be. And it's all right saying they're using the virtual queue, but you're still going to have to wait for that attraction.
Correct. And that's when the whole group size comes into play.
Yeah.
So if you have a bunch of single riders and they all say they're single riders, they can actually put 2 people, like in the Mummy cart, and that's it.
But they actually doing single rider lines at this point?
No single rider lines. They put them in the regular lines.
Yeah, I don't
think. So if you have, one person, they can take up a whole area.
I don't think you're going to see single riders for a long time, because I just don't see how they can. If they're trying to separate groups off, then it goes against everything that single rider is.
Right.
Maddie, did you ride much when you were there?
Yeah, we rode as much as we could.
Again, I suppose it's different for you, innit, like you say, because there wasn't many people there.
Yeah, there wasn't many people. They weren't using the virtual queues yet, so I don't have any experience with those. But for us, when I was there, as far as getting people on the ride vehicles, it was like, if I'm in a party of 1 to 3 people, I would get put, and this is all depending on, let's say we're going on like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like if it's me and then my 2 friends, they put us in the front row. And then the next group behind us was also like a group of 3. They put them in the last row and left that middle row open.
Yeah.
But like if you have a group of 4 or more people, like you get the car to yourself. Like if you have 6 people in your party, that car is all yours.
3 in the front and 3 in the back.
Yeah, or just like, because it's all in your party,
yeah.
But on Hagrid's, I was lucky enough to not have to wait in a line in Hagrid's, and I walked all the way through, and then I got on a car all by myself. But I would assume that, like, if you're in a group of like 1 or 2, like you get like the motorbike and the sidecar, and then there's going to be like a gap behind you, and then that next group is going to get the one behind you. But like
2 behind.
Also, it's an outdoor ride,
yes.
So like, does it matter in an outdoor ride? I don't know, because like when I rode the Hulk, that was a bit of there was more people in that line, and my group of 4 that I was with, like we got the front row, but then there was people in the row behind us.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. The whole I don't know.
Am I right in assuming that you're still supposed to wear your face covering on every ride?
Okay. Oh, okay. I have questions about that because every single ride that I went on that very, very first day, they said, like, they physically told me, like, as I was buckling into the car, whatever ride it was, that you have to wear your face covering through the duration of the ride.
Yeah.
The only exception is the water ride.
Yeah.
They said that it was optional on the water ride.
So if you're into a bit of waterboarding, if you like a bit of torture, wear your mask.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, but going back to Volcano Bay, I did notice some people getting on rides with face masks on, and I think the team members at Volcano Bay were telling them that they could not wear the face mask while on a water ride for safety purposes, which like makes sense. We don't want people to drown. But yeah, but then I think it was the pass holder page. I guess later on they were telling people that it was optional to wear it on the ride.
Okay.
I don't know. I was worried about my face mask like flying off on the Hulk, but it didn't. It was fine.
Because I saw someone sent me a picture yesterday of a shot from Rip Ride Rocket, and everyone had their masks tucked under the chin. So I don't know. It makes sense on a roller coaster more than anything else, because if you've got somebody on that front who's coughing, I think Darren's brought it up a few times, that someone coughs on the front and basically everyone behind you is getting covered in it.
I mean, who's going to enforce it when the ride starts?
Yeah, and once you're halfway around, if you take it off, I don't know. But then it's like, they've got cameras all over the place. They're going to be watching what's going on. Are they going to kick you out of the park afterwards?
After the ride.
Yeah, maybe. Look, at the end of the day, the rules are there for everybody's safety. And if you're a person that's going to book those rules, then that says more about you than it does about anybody else. Mm-hmm. And that's wrong, because they aren't there just because Universal want to be awkward. They're there to try and keep everybody safe. And, and that's all we want at the end of the day.
Right. We just want to be respectful towards others.
So getting to the end of this, a question I want to ask you all. Did you all feel safe and comfortable being in the parks?
I did most of the time. There were a couple times where other guests, maybe got too close but we just had to move ourselves. But other than that, I think Universal did everything they could to make it safe for us.
I felt safe as well. I mean, everybody was wearing their masks. For the most part, people were trying to keep distance. There were a few instances, but for the most part, I felt safe.
Yeah, I felt very, very safe there compared to the other places I've been going to, like Publix and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I've heard that actually. Yeah, a lot of people have said I felt safer at the theme parks than I did go at my local grocery store.
Yeah, Universal's is almost a safe zone compared to other places.
So yeah, wrapping it up, is there anything... So you all seem to have commented and said they've handled it really well. Is there anything you think they can improve on? And let's go back into alphabetical order at this point. So, Brittney, anything you feel that they haven't done that they could?
My only thing really would be the food situation, at least at Fast Food Boulevard, because that's the only problem that I had.
I know an issue, I think it was Chris and Darren brought it up last time, is... the mobile ordering's brilliant, but it's if you're an annual pass holder, your annual pass discount isn't on there, so you're not getting that benefit using the mobile ordering. I hope that's something they do implement over the course of time.
Yeah, you can't get a team member discount either, but at Disney on the app, you also can't get a discount.
Okay.
So
you'd think it would be easy to do though, because your annual pass is linked to your account anyway, so it can't be difficult.
No, mine's expired. Mine's been expired for 3 years. They can't fix it.
Wow.
So even though my ticket shows expired in the app.
Jack, anything you feel they can improve on other than what Brittney said?
The only other problem I found, and everybody seemed to have this problem, was trying to actually get virtual queue. It seemed like people would get there and they would get booted out, or they just could not get a virtual queue pass. So if you're there for one day and you really want to ride Hagrid, you don't get a virtual queue for it, you're kind of screwed.
Are they only doing virtual queue? Can you still go in standby? Is everything, I mean, not everything, but everything that has a virtual queue, can you ride standby? Is it virtual queue only?
Hagrid was virtual queue only. I know that. And I think Mummy, by the time we went to go try to ride Mummy, it had a wait time earlier in the day, and then when we got there, it was virtual queue only.
Okay. Maddy, anything you feel they can improve?
I feel like it was a century since I was there. I don't think so. I think as someone who is in like partly in the entertainment section of Universal, like I think it's interesting that they've brought back entertainment with their reopening, because Disney has said no entertainment, no parades, no fireworks, no nothing involving entertainment for the unforeseen future. But like, you know, I socially distancedly met SpongeBob, so that was weird and interesting.
I actually really like those
I stood on a
meet and
marker and SpongeBob was, it brings a new life to character meet and greets. Because like, SpongeBob was on a stage and I was on a marker, and he was doing dance moves and was making me copy the dance moves.
Awesome.
And I had to copy his dance moves if I wanted to take a selfie with SpongeBob. So it was very, very, very fun.
Yeah. It's like you look at Shrek. We saw a video with someone like Shrek and Fiona on one side and Donkey was on the other, and they were kind of having
that
a bit
was
of
our
banter.
video.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It seemed like they had more characters out. We had hashtag Panda was out dancing around.
The Seuss characters were a lot of fun too, because the Grinch was like making faces at us.
Awesome.
Yeah, and telling us to like move along.
And like King Julian on the bridge going into islands, it's give it a new life. I think I actually really like it.
Yeah, I really like that too.
It's very fun. The only thing I worry about when the parks do start to get a bit busier is like people starting to queue to meet the characters, because there isn't specific
queues.
Like it's not like it's not like Disney where like you meet Peter Pan and he has a specific queue line. They don't have that at Universal for a lot of the characters. So like people who don't know any better are going to start queuing for the characters. But I think it's just going to be up to the escorts to kind of manage that.
When I took a picture with Rogue and Wolverine, people started kind of crowding the area, and the team members were telling them where to queue up and kind of formed a line.
That's good.
It's difficult though, isn't it, as a team member having to be that bossy with people?
Yeah.
Tom, anything you feel they can improve?
The virtual queues, but you know, that's just going to take some time. You know, they just work in progress. And the other thing is, we went when it was raining, so there wasn't a lot of characters out. But I stood online for the hopping pot because on the menu it said hot butterbeer. And I stood on it for 15 minutes. And when I got there, they're saying, we're not serving it. So that's my big gripe.
I'd have walked out there and then I'd have walked out. I'm done.
I was like, really? That's not my only complaint. Don't post it if you're not going to serve it, please.
I agree.
Well, when they closed, they were still serving it. So
that's probably what it is.
You've heard of an eraser. Just erase it.
I don't understand why they don't serve it year round.
It was needed because we were, dripping wet. It was like in the 70s. And we're like, oh, hot butterbeer would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing then. It sounds like, from you four guys' point of view, that it went swimmingly well. And like you say, you guys were kind of the guinea pigs for that first week. So if it went relatively well first off, then hopefully they've learned enough that now it is open to the general public and it's getting busier, that those first sort of 4 or 5 days they've learned a lot. And
the most important thing is when you go, you have to have an open mind. Don't have any set expectations. They're trying to figure it out. There's going to be glitches. There's going to be bumps in the road, but if you go in an open mind, you won't get disappointed. Just enjoy it. You couldn't go for 3 months.
You've got to be aware of where you're going and what's going on at this point, rather than going with the expectation of, I'm going back to the place that I love and it's going to be what I want it to be, when it really isn't.
Right. No, and you have to be nice. Everyone is, it's a very stressful time, not just because of a global pandemic, but like you have to be nice to the team members.
Absolutely.
Like they're trying their best, they're trying their best. And if you're going to go and just complain about the procedures, you're making that choice to go. So like, don't complain.
Exactly.
Just go, if you go, if you get angry at a team member, it's just going to make everyone else's experience with the team member later that day a miserable experience.
Yeah,
puts them in a bad mood. Be nice.
We've said before, working at a theme park is not the easiest job in the world at the best of times. Certainly not right now. And we've said it right from the beginning when the theme parks reopen. Be nice. We're all there for the same reason, and just. But from what we've seen, the team members seem to be super into it. They're just glad to be back at work and enjoying being back in the place that they love, and that's all we want.
Yeah, their mood was pretty contagious. They were in good spirits. It made our experience much better.
Yeah, walking through, everyone was like waving. It was so nice.
I love that.
Like, we rode E.T. As one of our first rides being back, because one of the girls I was with had never been on it before. And I hit that part of the ride, and I hear that little mushroom guy go, "Welcome home," and I actually broke down.
Oh, Maddy.
And I'm not even back to work yet. But I was like, it was just that thing of like after all of this, like, the future is so uncertain, but like, I'm so incredibly grateful to get to come back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
You got to take it with a grain of salt, but you have to stay like super positive about the situation.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Awesome. Right. Well, thank you, everyone. It's been interesting to talk, and it seems like everything's heading in the right direction. So if you are heading down in the next few weeks or months or whatever, I still don't know what's happening with our October trip, but we will see. But it sounds like it's going relatively well, even though, like Maddy said, there's been a lot of complaints, and I think I've taken it with a pinch of salt. Like you say, Maddy, I think you're always going to get those people that are going to complain, whatever they do. But from what I've seen, keeping an eye on what's been going on, and the people I've spoken to who have been, they seem to be doing as good a job as they possibly can. Mm-hmm. And that's all you can ask.
Correct.
So for everyone who is going, again, just be aware of what you're going into. Be nice to each other. It should be, I mean, I shouldn't have to say that anyway. You know, we're all there for the same reason, and just go and enjoy being back in the place you want to be, and be nice to everyone, and make the best of it. And then hopefully we'll get back to a place where it is what we want it to be, and we can all start going regularly without masks on and socially distancing. And yeah, I mean, in fairness, we've watched the videos and Tracy's like, "Oh my God, that's theme park heaven. I don't have to have my dinner with somebody sat next to me. I can stand in a queue without people in front of me or behind me." And she's just like, "It's perfect." But yes, so thank you everyone for joining me. It's much appreciated. And like I say, I wanted this to put this out there to give people a good idea of what they're going into, so they have a mindset going in that it's not going to be what they expect it to be, and kind of know what it is going to be. So Jack, Brittney, Maddy and Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's good to talk. It's good to talk to our family as well. So there you go. Honestly, if you're going in the next few weeks, let us know how you got on, because we're obviously interested in seeing how things improve over the course of time. And that email address is podcast@uopodcast.com. We will be back with, I'm hoping to get this out on Monday, so we'll have another episode tomorrow. But for now, for Jack, Brittney, Maddy, Tom and myself, we'll see you next week.